All I asked was, "Are you ready?" And that's how you get Kim to laugh. That's it. That's all I said.
Okay, so I was like,
I thought this was going to be the one time that I hit record, and it's like, no, there's no laugh there, but it's every time.
I was gonna
unbelievable.
do a fake laugh.
It did it. It just broke out into the real thing.
To a real laugh. I can't.
My word.
I don't know if I could fake laugh. Have you ever tried to fake laugh? Does it turn into a real laugh for you?
Whenever I fake laugh, like people know. Like,
oh yeah, I've heard you. I've heard you do that laugh, and I'm like, shut up,
poser.
Lies. I tell you,
liar. What's up, Kim?
Hi everyone.
How's it
Hi
going?
Jordan.
What's new?
Oh man, there's a lot going on.
There was a lot going on. So for those of you, first of all, who are new here, welcome to Grease and Grace. My name's Jordan,
and my name's Kim.
Hey, we're glad that you guys are here. We were in the middle of some things before. We hit record, and this happens if we don't record at our normal time.
Yes,
it never fails. Like
yes.
Today we are not filming at our normal or recording.
We're not
at our
filming
normal,
ever.
We're never filming. We're not recording at our normal time, and we don't want we won't give our time away of when we record. So that's a mystery.
We've recorded on a good amount of days, not all of them yet.
But whenever it's like outside the norm, it's kind of like, hey, do you want to take an hour and just totally interrupt the day and talk?
I know, because I have so many things that I have to do
I have
today.
like this huge schedule. I have all these things going on. And today, like, there was a couple times where I was like, I should call her and just see like if we could. And I'm like, no, you know what? Let's just ruin all the momentum that I have going, and we'll put it into another direction.
Just squeeze it on it.
Because normally they're like 20 times better when we do that.
Yes.
Like if we can interrupt your day, interrupt my day. It's like, let's do
Last
this thing.
week was a big interruption, and of our day, because it was like the weirdest time and funny. Like many people were like, that was a hilarious episode.
Fine.
Just because like we were so.
I don't even know what we talked about last week.
We laughed the entire time.
What did we talk about? What was it?
Winter.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
That was a fun one.
That was a good time.
But okay,
all right,
we got to start on a serious note, folks.
All right, let's do it.
First of all,
do you want like music?
So first of all, we owe somebody an apology.
Oh no, what did we do? We're sorry. I just said it right. I can't have you mad at me. I'm so sorry.
Her name was Natalie, not Naomi, and I kept calling
You did
her.
it. I didn't do it. I just followed your lead.
I know. So okay, so I see Natalie.
Oh,
I know.
No.
Oh no, I already told her. I was like, I'm telling her. I'm talking about it on the podcast. So I see Natalie.
Wait, back up a second, because if this is your first episode, you have no idea what we're talking about. So
if this is your first episode, then go back and listen to.
Yeah,
the
you need to go back to other episodes. But last week we had a story. We were talking about an individual, a young lady who came up and essentially was excited about our podcast, and we got her name wrong.
And she listens all of the time.
And she listens all the time.
Uh-huh.
So you give her a formal apology. Say you're sorry.
Dear Natalie, from the deepest depths of my soul, I'm so sorry. She corrected me. So her brother.
Did she hear it first? Is that the worst?
No.
Oh, okay.
I told her. I did warn her. So her brother plays on the same indoor soccer team as Miles.
Oh, gotcha.
And so like it's funny because like her youngest brother likes to play with Owen, and then her middle brother likes to plays with Miles.
Yeah.
So she's just kind of like hanging out, and since she sees me at church and
That's fair.
she would be in the group that I lead.
Yeah.
She just comes over and like hangs out and stuff like that, and I'm totally chill with it. And so I said something to her, and I called her Naomi, and she's like,
no.
"It's Natalie."
Oh, that's the worst.
And I was like, "Shut your mouth."
I do it all the time.
And so, but I told her, I was like, thank you for correcting me, because I would have felt like such a jerk if I just continued to like call you Naomi and you never said anything. And
it's close. Like, I have a friend, his name is, now I'm going to mess it up because I always go back. His name is Brett, but I call him Brent all the time.
Oh.
And because I know a Brent, you know? So like, even today, I prayed for him today. We are having a conversation, and I like just checked myself. I was like, dear Lord, thanks for Brent,
you know,
my friend over here. Yeah.
B-man.
It's
It's really weird to hear when any guy's name is Brett, which I know that it is a guy's name, but my best friend's name is Brett. and she is a female.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, her name is Brett.
That's like Kelly a long time ago used to be
yeah.
Kelly Slater, pro surfer. There's a couple Kellys that I know, and it's like,
and now you
yeah, and you're like, hey, have you met Kelly? And you're like instantly thinking of like a girl, and then all of a sudden like this guy shows up, and you're like, why didn't you have long hair?
What is the other name? There's another name that's like that, where like I've heard Kelly. I don't know. Anyways. So Natalie,
we're sorry.
So sorry.
We're sorry.
Please continue listening to us. It's super. I'm so sorry.
We apologize.
Anyway.
And
then I did say, so we got a message about one of our previous podcasts, and I just said that I would make sure that we apologized about the diet culture one because somebody had brought up that
you should definitely listen with like a little bit of a filter on there of knowing that like we're not professionals.
Yeah. But somebody just was like, hey, this is kind of what's up, and it could have been viewed as if we're like hating on.
I get it. There's people that no doubt probably listened to that and thought to themselves like, you guys are, like anti this or whatever the case is. And you know, that's the hardest thing with anything that you say audibly is it's going to be perceived one way, and you hope that it doesn't. But in the same breath, we can still come back and be like, "Hey, we're sorry for any hurt feelings or anything that transpired, and please don't, stop the listening." I almost said believing.
All four of
don't
you.
Stop the believing.
Don't stop believing.
Yeah, don't do that.
Oh,
don't stop believing.
That is a song of my senior year.
Here's the deal: if you get to a spot in Grease and Grace podcast where you're thinking to yourself, "I hate this," and
then do you hate happiness?
I think at that moment you just pray for us and just be like, give some grace, and start your own podcast, and then just say everything you don't like about us. That'd be fantastic. Let me tell you everything I Grease and Grace with the Grease and Grace podcast. I would love to actually hear that. That'd be kind of interesting.
Yeah. We might have to Grease and Grace our podcast. No, just kidding. It would all
hard.
be Graces.
It would have to be a really good day.
Yeah. Okay, so apologies are doled out.
All right.
Lastly, we're moving into the news story of the day because I feel like...
Is this the topic or no?
No.
Oh, okay.
This isn't the topic.
Well, this is the banter.
Houston has a problem.
Houston has a problem?
Houston has a
What are you talking about? Are you talking about?
I read.
This is so bad because Sunday. What before you carry into this on Sunday, somebody in church came up to me and they're like, "Well," and then they just told me like something that was going on in the news, and I was so like, and it was major news, and I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about, and the disappointment in their face was like, why? Like, you don't know that? I'm like, I have no idea.
Like the inauguration.
It wasn't the inauguration, but yeah.
Man.
What do you got?
Okay.
What's going on?
Houston has a problem.
Houston, Texas?
Houston, Texas.
All right.
Has a problem.
I love when you get a kick out of stuff.
Drug-addicted rats.
Oh, no. Destroying what?
Destroying evidence in police drug lockers.
Can you imagine?
So there's like a bunch of high rats.
They're like in the evidence room just like doing drugs.
They're not doing them, they're eating them. So we've got 4.
Can you imagine like a rat? It's like a Saturday for him. He gets into like a bag of mushrooms and he's just like,
they got into mushrooms.
Hello.
So Mayor John Whitmire.
Oh, poor John.
Had a news conference.
Oh no.
That drugs are being stored in evidence lockers, and it's attracting rats that feast on the illicit narcotics and cause damage to other evidence in the process. We got 400,000 pounds of marijuana in storage.
No.
That the rats are the only ones enjoying.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
That's
I
intense.
saw that and I was like, whoa. But yeah, if you like, I read it today and it's like.
Can you imagine the conversation between the rats? Like,
mushrooms?
Hey Barry, guess what? Today we got into some crazy stuff.
How do you even stop that? Because like,
well, what if like you were going to trial and like there was an issue there, and then all of a sudden they're like, let's pull out evidence, and like there's nothing there.
Like the last remnants just like crumble out of the bag, and you're like, well, Gary,
the dude on trial's like, I totally prayed this morning. That's fantastic.
Oh my goodness. So Houston, I'm going to be going to Austin. Is Austin close to Houston?
Oh, I don't think so.
I'm going to be going to Austin tomorrow.
I think they're pretty far away.
Well,
that is unbelievable.
Maybe I can go and check out the rap problem, see what they got going on. Yeah, I don't even know how you battle that.
Oh, wow. Anyway.
Oh, man. So I just saw that and thought that's podcast worthy.
Oh, my goodness.
But that's
fantastic.
not the topic today.
Okay, so wait, hold on.
Oh.
If you're new, and I don't know why I keep saying
far.
this. Like we did like a promotion or something to get all these new people in.
No, we had like we had a new follower.
Okay.
We've had some new listeners. We had one new
Hello, new follower. Don't tell me your name because I will royally mess it up. So
your name is Steve. I'm going to call you Barry.
Yeah, I got a new tattoo. What'd you get? Oh, I told him to put a skull on it. He did Kermit the Frog. So there's that.
But we've had some
Okay,
people checking out our Facebook lately.
So anyway, here at the old Grease and Grace podcast, here's what we do. Every week we take on a new topic. We look at the greasy and the graceful side of that topic. Sometimes it's current events, pop culture. Sometimes it's a thing we know nothing about that we feel like we need to know about, and then sometimes it's a thing we know a lot about, and we're just like, let's just banter on this for a while. But regardless, we're going to give you a unique blend of insight, but majority of it's going to be humorous. So buckle up. I'm telling you what.
Because we funny people.
I'm a funny person. That's like when you tell somebody you're funny, like it's immediately you're not funny.
I know. That's happened a couple of times to me.
It's like, hey, I want to tell you something. I hope you don't get upset. I'm gonna get upset. Like I can pretty much guarantee.
No, what do people say?
My kids are notorious at that.
No offense.
Yeah, no offense.
No offense, but I don't like your face. And it's like, how am I not supposed to be taking offense to that, sir?
Hey,
you
Kim,
meant offense.
I want to tell you something. Don't get upset. How mad do you want me to get? Like that's all I think in my life. So this is gonna be hilarious. Shoot ourselves in the foot. Anyway,
it's gonna be the worst time ever.
Kim always gives a topic, I give an explanation, and then we dive in. So, Kim, today's topic is...
Is there a definition? I don't know.
I'll find out.
We're greasing and gracing Parenthood.
Parenthood. Oh, my goodness.
Is there I'm sure there's a definition.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
But I want to make sure that we're not greasing gracing parents, just parenthood.
Well, the hard part is going to be to get past Parenthood, the TV series and the film. Do you remember that? So Parenthood was a 2010 TV series.
I loved that show.
A lot of people did.
That was a really good show.
Yeah. There was also the show called This Is Us that was really popular around that time.
Listen, that show, we can't even get into that because that's another topic, not the show specifically, but that show shot themselves in the foot.
Yeah. And then there was a movie called Parenthood, which is
Steve Martin.
Steve Martin. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. No, Rick Moranis was in that. Whatever happened to Ricky?
I don't know who that is.
Ricky Moranis. No, he was Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, the dad.
Oh, I never know his name.
Ricky M, man.
He doesn't. His name was
Frederick Allen.
I don't know.
Actually, his last name is Moranis.
Yeah.
Which, yee. Right. But did you know Keanu Reeves is in that movie?
As a kid?
It's in Parenthood.
As a baby?
No. Keanu Reeves no baby.
I've never seen it.
Keanu Reeves would have been...
Was he born as a 47-year-old man? I'm Keanu Reeves. How does he sound?
Okay, I'll give you... Well, I love doing this to you.
Okay.
How old is Keanu Reeves? Shot in the dark. Come on.
54.
Close. 60.
He's 60?
Mm-hmm.
What?
60 years old.
Oh.
How old is Steve Martin?
Ooh, he I think is 78.
Almost right on 79.
I think I just learned that from a podcast that I was listening to. Another podcast.
He looks good for 79.
He's on it. He's still
banjo playing.
Him and what's his face?
I like
this
the
is
old
painful.
Steve Martin.
He's on Hulu. Only Murders in the Building is the show that he's in.
What are you
with
watching?
Selena Gomez. No, it's a comedy.
Oh man!
But it's with him and Martin Short. Martin Short and Steve Martin are really good friends.
Parenthood was so good. Not the TV series, that movie. It's
never
so
seen it.
good. Okay, you want me to define Parenthood?
Okay,
Ready for
define
this?
Parenthood, the life experience.
Parenthood is the state of being a parent.
The end.
That's
Is
it.
that it?
That's it.
Is that really what Google?
Yeah, 100%. Like, that's all you get. Now, you get, like, fatherhood, which is the state of being a father, and you get motherhood, which
so
is...
we can state of being a mother.
Period. That's
so
it.
we can kind of grease and grace those.
Yeah.
Because you're not a mom.
Okay.
And I'm not a dad.
Before...
I checked.
Check. So, first, before we go into Parenthood, preliminary questions, right?
Yes.
Number one is, did you always want to be a parent or no?
Yes.
Really? Because like little girls always like, I'm not saying always, that's an absolute, shouldn't have said that. Little girls, for the most part, like are like baby dolls.
Yeah.
You know,
I
like,
had dolls.
Yeah. So like, even if I talk to my girls, they still like, in the adolescent stage of life that they're in, they still want to be parents.
Yeah.
Which I think is interesting. Did you want to be a parent or no?
I wanted to be a parent. And
I love the laugh. Like, whoa, let me tell you.
But like, until you become a parent, you don't understand what being a parent is. And so like, and I don't know, because so many people like tell you like how, like, oh, it's going to be hard and stuff like that. But I don't think until you actually experience it, do you realize like, oh, how
much of a challenge it really truly is.
And so like, I didn't want to sign up for the challenge. I didn't want that. So did you want to always be a dad? Did you ever?
Always.
Really?
All the time. Yeah. Like, so even from when I was little, that was like always on the table was, I mean, I played with trucks and stuff like that, like normal kids do. But, yeah, even when I was little, like I just wanted to get married, have kids, be a dad. I
wanted like a huge family.
Actually, let me backtrack on that a second. I wanted to be married. Like, okay, I just knew kids went along with that. So yeah.
I don't think that I wanted to be married until I met Josh.
Really?
Yeah, like he was the first one. It was love at first sight. Oh when goodness. I saw him when I was 16, like it was like, oh. And so then I was like, oh, there's life. You know what I mean? Like, okay.
Yeah. So the way that I always think about it, which is so weird, because you know, like when you go on a date and you sit across the booth from somebody.
Yes.
Like, and you know how when you're at like a casino and like, I've never been to a casino, but like the slot machines, how it goes like around. Like I've always felt that Bethany like stopped. Like that was the stop of the machine. It was like when she was across the table from me, it was immediately like, this is it. Like there's no more game's over, like or game has started. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, different game started.
So you said big family. How many kids do you want?
I wanted 4.
Oh, I wanted 8.
Well, when I was younger, even younger, I wanted 6.
Yeah.
But then wanted 4, and then I had my first son, and he turned 3.5.
And it was like, no.
He turned 3, and I was like, we're out.
But you had Owen by the time he was 3. So you like were solidified, like this should be done.
Yeah.
We should stop multiplying.
Well, so Miles was actually a twin.
Oh,
so
really?
Here's like our whole, so Miles was actually a twin. Twins run in our family, and it has always skipped a generation. So it was my generation that was going to have twins.
Yeah.
So we went in, and there was like 2, I don't know.
Embryos.
No.
What is the term for that? Anyway, go ahead.
There was like a line in between.
Yeah.
And I remember looking at the screen, and I was like, what is that? Josh, do you see that? And he was like, no, I think it's just a mark on the screen.
Yeah, well, you might know lifting, but you don't know marks on a sonogram.
So then the doctor came in, and he like confirmed like there was a twin.
Sure
Miles ate it.
Yeah.
I don't know. And
Miles ate it.
So had Miles, and then we had Owen, and then we were gonna just kind of like pause for a little bit, enjoy the 2, and then have 2 more. But when you become pregnant with twins, your likelihood of having twins becomes higher.
Oh, really?
And
so you guys just kind of stopped the process.
Twins are more, what's the word? Prevalent? I don't know. In people above like 32.
Wait, so if you're saying if you got pregnant now, there's a pretty high chance that you would have twins.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. And so I was like, I would like to have 4 kids, but what will happen is number 3 will end up being a boy, and we'll be like, woohoo, love that so much.
Yeah.
And then you can't have an odd set of kids because when you're going to amusement parks, who's the odd kid sitting with?
Yeah.
And so
He's by himself. Like, just stay here, buddy. We'll come get you.
And so I was like, then what's going to happen is we're going to have twins, but it's going to be twin girls because both of us only wanted one girl.
There it is.
And so I was like, we're going to be done. And also Miles is crazy.
I'm gonna go with both. I'm gonna go with both. I'm not gonna say one kid is crazier than the other. But you have boys.
Yeah,
boys are a totally different story.
Oh yeah. So you guys need to know, if you do not know Jordan and I personally, Jordan has 2 girls
that are calmest, like
so calm.
They read books. I mean, we do get a little crazy, but not like Wilcox.
Not like
crazy.
Wilcox
No.
household, where yesterday I had to actively stop my child from carrying 2 chairs up the stairs to sit in and try and sled down them.
Of course,
in kitchen chairs.
Why not?
What are you doing? And I was like, hey, what are we doing, guys? Guess what time it was, by the way, when this was happening?
Late. Or early. One of the two.
It was 7:30 in the morning.
In the morning. I knew it was earlier.
7:30 in the morning.
Well, they didn't have school either.
They didn't have school. And I was like, what are we doing? And Miles was like, we're trying to sled down the stairs. And I was like, in kitchen chairs? So
it sounded like a good idea at the time.
My house is constant like noise and movement and sound, and
I get it. When I was a kid, you remember those like 1990 football toy boxes? They had like the lid to them. They were all plastic.
Yeah.
I used to put a bunch of like pillows and blankets in there at the top of the steps, put the top on, and I'd be like, we're going to the moon, and just like throw myself down. My mom would be like, what are you doing? I mean, she was so mad at me because it would mark up like the side of the walls and all that other stuff.
And your body, yeah. If I didn't step in, I'm pretty sure my children would.
It was so
Miles
fun.
did like a full-on flip. He flew down the stairs, and I don't know what happened, what he tripped on, but like his arm was still on the rail.
He's still living.
He flipped.
That's so fun.
Like Josh was like, "What are you doing?"
That's so
So
fun.
just know that my house is always like DEFCON 5. Yours is like chill.
So you guys are done. Like it's over.
Unless God's got a divine intervention.
That's so funny. All right, give me the greases. What do you got?
So
this episode could last a while.
Good. Grease of Parenthood. I haven't like actually thought about the Greases of Parenthood.
This is super hard for me because I always think about it with other people. So I'm gonna try really hard to think about it for myself.
So the grease for me is because, and I think
there's
this
some
might
greasy
be
parents
different.
out there.
We can talk about parents another time. My biggest grease is I am arguing with myself.
What do you mean?
Miles is me.
Oh.
And so
I have that problem with my oldest.
Yeah. And so he and I will be arguing, and like I know how to argue with Josh.
Yeah.
So I know how to argue with Owen because Owen is very similar to Josh.
Well, you've probably gotten to the point too with Josh where you're at that place where you're like, it's not really an argument. We just know how to like work the situation. Yeah.
But like,
you're not there with him though.
I'm not there with either of my children, and I'm not there with myself. I don't know how to argue with myself.
Yeah.
I exhaust myself because I'm watching Miles, and like the way that he argues and the way that he talks and the way that he says things is me because he's been raised by me and he is me.
I'd love to tell you it ends. It's not going to end.
I know it's not going to end. And
there.
I'm like, I am so not looking forward to like, he's 8. So I have like, as far as I know, I have probably like 3 more good years.
They check out in junior high for sure.
Junior high, he'll start like, he already is kind of like, I'm too cool kind of a thing. So
junior high is just going to check out mentally. Like junior highers take their brain and they put it like on a shelf somewhere. They forgot where they put it and they're like, we'll find it in high school. Because right now I got 2 of them in my house where they're just like totally have taken the brain out of their body and just said, we don't need this.
You tell me I need this and I don't. So
I don't know how they're getting good grades because there's nothing in that head of theirs.
Yeah. So I've got like 3 more good years. And then I'm so not
I love how naive you are. It's so fun.
I'm fully aware. This is what I have to tell myself to get through.
Yeah.
Because then like, and I'm also going by like what my sister-in-law says. She has 2 who her youngest is just getting out of the stage that Miles is going.
How old is he?
Into which one?
Miles.
8.
8. Okay. Yeah.
So my sister-in-law is kind of like giving us the warnings of like what to expect next. And she's like, there's nothing that can prepare you for teenagehood. It stinks. Like, it is horrible.
You go from checkers to chess. That's the only way
and
I can
can't
word
play
it.
chess.
Yeah. It's the only way. Because like there's so many calculated moves now. Like with my girls being in junior high, there is so much.
By them?
Both of us. We're constantly playing like the game, right? Because it's hard when they're in junior high because they're trying to kind of like make a break and be like independent.
Themselves.
Yeah, like I love it. Like so, there's a lot of this like happening where you're excited, but at the same time you're like, don't make that. Like that's not a good idea.
Is that a choice you want to make?
I don't. This ends badly, but hey, you know what? Go for it. See what happens.
Yeah. I'm not there yet, but right now I'm trying to just prevent my children from killing one another on the stairs in a kitchen chair.
So is that so? Like that's the grease side of it.
My grease right now is like I was not prepared to have to argue with like an identical of myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that kids argue and stuff like that, but like nobody has told me or just I wasn't listening.
And it's like I don't want to say the worst of you, but it's like the traits that you've always analyzed as, man, like I'm not sure if these are good or bad, but they're like right in front of me now. I have to work out on them.
Yes. Yes. And like nobody told me about that. And
nobody told me a lot of things about parenting.
Like, but well, yeah.
I'm pretty sure people were just like, hey, you should have kids and join us in the dark side.
Absolutely. That's why if anybody doesn't have kids, I'm like, you should have them just so that you and I can complain together. Like,
and then you get to volunteer in children's ministry, and then you get this. Like, it's really a good time.
Yeah.
You know, like, well, I need a friend. You should be my friend. You know how you can be my friend? Have kids.
You need to have sons. I was actually just talking about this to a friend because she has 3 sons and a daughter. And she's like, all of my friends have girls. Mm-hmm. And I was like, so many of my friends have girls. What is that about? Like,
but what's cool when they're younger is like the boy and girl thing is fine.
Boy and girl thing is fine, except they're totally different. Like, girls can like sit.
But they complement each other a lot. Like so like the girls will like bring the boys down a little bit, boys will bring girls out a little bit, and I think that's great. Yeah,
it's
fine.
So yes, my first grease.
I can understand. I can relate.
Arguing with myself. So you're oldest.
Well, that's the worst because Bethany will look at me and she'd be like, "She's acting like you," and I'm like,
"No, she's not. She's acting like you."
like there are times like where like I'm like a parent, I'm so frustrated, like just struggling, and I look over, Bethany's looking at me, she's like, you do that all the time. I'm like, and now there's 2 fights going on.
Yeah, that's definitely
like happened. This is not helpful. This is not edifying. It's like, hey, are you drowning? Here's a brick. There was no help there whatsoever from her. It was just more like
tie your hands too.
Yeah. Oh, you're in a war with yourself?
Here's an AK-47
exactly.
fixing right at you.
Here's a grenade that I just pulled the pin on, and you're gonna have a good time. That's the worst, man. Like, yeah. And I hate to like throw her under the bus because I'll do the same thing to her. Like, she'll be in a conversation with her, and I'm like, that's you.
No, Josh has done that so many times, and I'm like, you're not helping.
There's sometimes where I'm like, just back out. Like, I'm like, stop talking, and I'm like, there's those things that happen. Man, greasy things in regards to parenting. They're so, like I said, I'm trying so hard to stay like focused on us and not like look at it from like other people.
Yes.
So like in regards to parenting, like, you'll get there. I hate saying that because
you can say it.
You will, but like they're always there.
That's what I said about Josh. They are, and I'm coming off of being home with them for 4 days straight.
Hold on, let me put a disclaimer on here, like because I know there's some people out there. First of all, I know there's people out there that can't have kids.
Yes,
and like and my prayers go out to you. And I know there's people out there who want kids. Like, so we're talking very much about like people who have kids, and it's like I love my girls. I love
adore
being
my
a
children.
dad.
Yes.
So here,
I would stand in front of like 1,000 buses.
if you mess with my daughter, I'll
Absolutely.
you're a goner. Yeah, like so. Don't hear this as like, man, I would take anything back, because I wouldn't take anything back.
No.
I love that in that regard. But for that, like, so I told this to Bethany the other day. This is gonna be so good. So I said, I just want to talk to you. Like, I married you, right? Like, you're my best friend. And so I'm having a conversation with her the other day, and like, out of nowhere.
Mom!
Yeah.
Mom! Have you seen my brush? Mom!
The interruptions of what I am talking, like, we'll be in this really serious conversation. I'm like, and I'm like, and you know, and I'm like, it's right there where she's gonna like weigh in, and she's gonna have her like epiphany moment. And it's like, oh no. And you're like, what do you want? And here's the thing. It is, I'm not going to use the word always because that's an absolute. It is, for the most part, things that are so irrelevant.
Yes.
Can you open this?
What did you tell me that I could do last week? What?
Like, for reals? Like, that's a Slim Jim. You can open that. I can't.
Mom, have you seen my homework from last week? Why do you need your homework from last week?
I can't believe you didn't dry my jeans. Like, what? Your mom and I were about to solve a world problem, and you just like came barging in.
Josh, that could
me.
be the biggest thing that bothers Josh.
Yeah.
Is like the house will be like silent for like a moment, and Josh and I will be like having a conversation.
Yep.
Full on into this conversation, and then out of absolutely nowhere, it's like Miles comes behind us with like a helicopter, and he's like, and then Owen starts crying because he like tripped his on like the chair and smacked his face into the door.
Yep.
Josh is like, it was so nice.
Well, and here's the thing. Here's what I've learned. Okay, so like we give counsel. Obviously, we do like marriage counseling, all that other stuff. You're right. So like, here's what I've learned. Here's the counsel I give. For a woman, it is easy for her to pick back up, because she's so used to it.
Unless your name was Kill.
For the most part. Like women can just like pick back up, because they're so used to like, oh, put that down. Okay. And then back to like serious conversation.
Yeah.
I can't do that. Like,
you can't tune out.
No.
Men can't tune out, because Josh can't tune out.
I can't do that.
Because I can't. So that's why I try and continue the conversation, because
Bethany will be like, keep going. And I'm like, it's over.
And I like, if we continue the conversation, then there's a continual line of thought that even though it's being distracted, it's not getting interrupted.
Yep.
The second that my attention turns from this conversation to whatever my kids need, say goodbye to that conversation. So I think most women have the ability to tune out for the most part.
Well, like even like our podcast, for example, like there's a lot of times where like I'm like looking at something, like I have my screen open or whatever the case is. It doesn't bother you at all.
Yeah.
If I am talking to like a guy and we're having a conversation, like you can tell visually that it bothers him, that like you've moved attention over. Yeah. Men are so much of like a look at me when I talk to you, you know. And for me, I'm with you where you're like, oh, it's hard for me to pick back up. I can pick back up, and I don't have a problem with that. Like, but I don't like to. Let's just throw that out there.
Yeah, because there was a stamina that was going with whatever conversation it was that kind of was interrupted. But yeah, for the most part, I mean, like,
super crazy.
I was just talking to my friend who she has twin boys, and like one of them was going potty in the kitchen while we were talking, and then he was having a hard time getting his pants back up, and like another one was like they were going on a trip,
and she's just handling your business,
and like we were both just like chatting through it as if.
And you're like, nothing's going on. Nothing's wrong here. Everything's wrong here. Yeah. And it's just like for Bethany, there are like when the girls are in the house, like her attention goes to them. Like she's conscious of like where they're at and what they're doing and what's going on and stuff like that. Me, I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah.
So like Bethany's constantly trying to like pull the family back in and like, hey, you guys want to play a game or whatever the case is. And we're all pretty much content with like being in our own space, doing our own thing.
When does that happen?
I don't know.
Because that's my next grease. It's like I'm not a touchy-feely person
At all.
At all.
Yeah.
Like physical touch, could not care less. Josh and I were in a long distance relationship for like 4 years.
You guys
and
have
I was
separate beds.
perfectly fine. Like I'm getting ready to leave for Texas
And
tomorrow.
he's good with it. You going to Houston?
I'm going to Austin. That's why I asked if Houston was close. But like we probably will not talk the entire time I'm
Seriously?
gone. I won't get back until Monday. Yeah. Like
wow.
because we just
it just is what it is.
yeah, it's just how it is. Like I know he's fine, and if he calls me, then that means that the house is on fire. But like, what am I gonna do?
Yeah.
I'm in Austin, Texas.
So your grease is
but
that your
my
kids
grease-
are always touching you?
So like last night, and it's kind of in this like they're always there realm. So last night every single night we read with our kids.
Okay.
Actually, they read to us.
Okay.
And
that's cool.
So I was sitting on the couch and Owen was sitting next to me. It was my turn to read with him because we have to switch on and off. He is a much slower reader and like it's painful. So he's in process. We have grace for that process, but like it is painful. So like we switch who's reading to who
That's
to
fair.
kind of give each other a break. So Owen was sitting right next to me reading, and all of a sudden he was like leaning on me. And I was at the corner of the couch.
Did you kind of like notice it? You're like, oh man.
And so then like I kind of like shuffled my arm back because I just don't want to be touched.
Yeah.
So then all of a sudden his knees were on me and I was like, I don't want to be touched right now. But it's not just the touching. Like it's like looking. Like I was on my computer doing something for work.
Oh, come on.
And it's not like I was doing anything like bad or I was working.
Yeah.
But like they come up and they're talking to me and then they're turning their head and like
"What's
looking
this?
at the computer
What are you
and
doing
they're
here?"
trying to touch it. And I'm like, I'm working, period. That's all it is. I'm just working. You don't need to see it. And so then what happens, poor Josh, because what happens is like I've been dealing with that all day, especially right now because they were home for 2 days. So I was dealing with that for all day long. And then 2 days ago, Josh came home. And he just came to say hi. And I was on my computer working. And he kissed me and then looked down at my computer. And I was like, what do you want? And like, he didn't understand that
He's like,
at all.
okay,
It's like,
hello.
I was just looking to see what you were doing. And I was like, I know. Everybody's looking to see what I'm doing right now. I'm just working.
See, if Bethany was there, she'd be like, whoa, like, why are you freaking out? And I'm
Josh,
like, I'll freak out if I want to freak out.
Yeah, that's Josh's like.
Everybody in my house is curious about like the phone rings. Well, it doesn't ring. It like beeps, for a text message. Who's that? Like, what is?
I'd start saying like it's a Dalai Lama. It's the Pope. We're chatting.
or people will like in my house.
Josh.
they always go like, are you okay? Jonna hates that. Like, hey,
Asking?
yeah, oh yeah. Like, so if you look even remotely like not okay, like somebody in our house, it's not uncommon. They'll be like, you okay? And it's like, yes, I'm fine. Like I was, but now I'm not. It's so funny. But
What was it? Josh did that to me the other day.
the curiosity thing goes like past kids.
Yeah.
Because I'll be in the home office. First of all, consider the source. I'm in the home office. Okay. so like, and then somebody will walk by and they'll be like, hey, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, I'm working on some stuff. What?
Work?
What?
things?
It doesn't matter? Like, do you need to know?
Are you evaluating me?
Yeah, like why are we having this conversation? And then stupid me, I give it to him. I'm like, oh, I'm writing the third point of a sermon right now.
What sermon?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, you have got to be kidding. And then I'm like, Jordan, why did you just give them all that detail? And then here's the crazy greasiest thing. Okay. And they just walk off, and you're like,
we just had a full conversation.
now I'm left to contemplate of whether or not I should be doing this, when I'm supposed to be doing this, and
Or do they ever make a face?
Yeah.
Where they're like, and then okay.
I'm like, hold on a second. So now I'm stuck for the next 2 hours evaluating my life choices and being like, maybe I shouldn't have been doing this. It drives me nuts.
See, my kids don't do that yet.
Oh, they'll get there.
But like, just like the glancing, or like they'll touch my keyboard as I'm typing, and I'm like, I will rip your fingers off one by one.
Which is really funny because that's kind of you. Like, you would do that, right? Like, I could see you like totally like walking by Josh and being like, ooh, what's this button do?
I know. I'm living with myself.
Yeah. Like, Josh is wiring up a light switch and you just like pull the wires apart. You're like, oh, didn't get that one right, did you, buddy?
I get mad at Miles for picking on his brother.
It's you.
It's me.
You would have done it. Yeah.
I pick on my brother all the time. It is infuriating living with myself. To which then I'm like, I'm sorry, Josh.
It is what it is.
Like, you chose this. I didn't choose my kids.
God chose them for me. What about the graceful things?
Oh, graceful things. I love like seeing their personalities like grow. I love, especially now, because I'm sure that it will only get better as they get older.
Yeah.
But like, I'm starting to see like the processing
it gets cool.
happening. Yeah. And like, there's legitimate questions that Miles is asking, and not so much Owen. I think Owen lives like in his own world.
He'll
where
get there.
He's just like, la, 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 la.
He'll get there.
But like right now, Miles is really like analyzing things and asking, not super deep questions, but I mean like questions that we can kind of like get into a further conversation. We just had a conversation about something yesterday, but I can't think of what it was because that was day 4 of me spending all day with them.
Well, they say a mom becomes a mom when she has the baby, and a dad becomes a dad when he has the first conversation. Like, and that I totally get that because my kids are like 5, 6, and all of a sudden then they're asking me questions. I'm like, whoa, this is happening. Are you sure you don't want like some PB&J or something? Like, this is a real conversation. Yeah, so it gets in like this really intense conversations. But like, this is why I'm such a proponent of 5 o'clock or whenever you eat dinner. Like around a table, like we're sitting at right now, no electronics. That is one of my favorite things about being a parent is when everybody's just like in this really good mood, you're sharing a meal and like you're laughing and it's just so, there's nothing like it. There's nothing else like it.
Oh yeah. I'm big into like, we're eating as a family at home.
Somebody sets the table, somebody gets drinks, we put all the food out, like
we're not quite there.
Oh, you'll get there. We've been doing this since the girls were born. I mean, it is so much embedded in our DNA that, and some people are like, what do you do about sports and stuff like that? There are times we miss, but for the most part, 3 out of 4 out of, or maybe even 5 out of like 7 days a week, we are at that table for at least one meal, and sharing that as a family. There's just so much like conversation that comes. Oh yeah.
Yeah. There have been like weeks where like I'm not home or I just like don't feel like cooking because every once in a while, shocker, that does happen.
Oh, I get it.
But when like we just get to be at the table as a family, I'm like, this is right. Yeah. And we've also we've done that as Josh and I did that before. He thought it was the weirdest thing because it was just him and I. And I was like, no, we're eating as a family. Like we're married. We're a family when we have kids. And my mom, she also did the same thing. And she had always raised a really good point. She was like, my brother played baseball on 3 teams. And so like in the summertime, it was always busy. And she always said, if we have baseball practice and baseball games all week long and we come to the table one time, then that is our only time that we get to really connect. Yep. And so like, I like that. And back then we didn't have electronics, but now like I very much
they're all
no
gone.
Electronics.
No
just
electronics
like
at table.
Hang out. We do play music because our family's
we do
rules.
That. Yeah.
Our family's rule growing up was no music at the table. I don't know why.
Now you're breaking that.
Now
you're
like we're constantly like, Alexa, play Ghostbusters.
Yeah, we always have something goofy under as an undertone or whatever.
Yeah, and so we've got music and stuff like that. But
those are like those graceful things where it's like I think the other graceful thing is whenever your kid asks you a legitimate question of help. Like that to me is so huge. Like, Dad, what about this? And you could tell like they've been processing it, they're thinking about that, and then all of a sudden they put that in your lap and you're like, I really need to think about my answer here because it holds a lot of weight.
Yeah.
But it's a cool moment.
We're getting there with Miles. We're not quite there yet because you're in a definitely a different stage. You are in a much different stage than we are. You've been through our stage. Ish.
Well, my oldest is 4 years from being 18.
That's insane when you say that.
Yeah, like so. They didn't have they didn't have school the other day, yesterday, and I took her to class with me. So I was like, hey, why don't you? I was like, you want to be a college student for a morning? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, let's do it. I was like, so you have work, you have your virtual work or whatever, because it was cold. And I said, why don't you just come to class with me? So she sat in the back and like we got in the car after class was over. I was like, what'd you think? And she's like, that's crazy. But in my mind, I'm going, you're legitimately 4 years away from this. Like you're going to graduate high school in 4 years and then this is where you're going to go. And so like being able to dialogue, and she asked like a ton of questions. Like what about this? And what's, and you can hear like the gears kind of processing and going through there. But this goes back to like the greasy thing. But then because she isn't, an adult yet, like it goes to like back to some weird stuff, and I'm like, we were doing fine. What happened to you? Like you just went off the rails there for a second.
Yeah, we're mostly off the rails still. there's very few times that like we have a conversation that goes like in one linear.
Yeah. It's usually all over the place. It's usually yeah. Any other graceful things?
There's a lot of graces. I mean, realistically, there's a lot of graces. My kids are so funny.
Yeah.
Like, and I know that it's because like Josh and I raised them, and Josh and I have similar like sense of humor.
A Sunday, I have a great like Josh story. So he was having a parenting moment.
Josh was?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We had a gathering after church, and he was there with.
Oh yeah.
But what was really funny is I didn't have my phone on me, or I'd have taken a photo of it because it was so funny. He was standing there, and he was looking at, I think it was Miles, and
probably.
Yeah, it probably was. And Miles was standing there looking at him, and they had the same face. Like he was totally over him and Miles was totally over him, and I was like, you guys look the same. And Josh looks at me, he's like, parenting, right? And I'm like, I don't know what's going on right now. I just walked into this situation, but this is unbelievable because the way you're feeling about him right now, he feels exactly the same way about you.
You know what's crazy? And I never do this. So, I mean, like, I have nothing to apologize, Mom and Dad. But you ever realize that, like, your kids will complain about you the same way that you complain about your parents?
100%.
It's like, I'm like, oh, no.
Oh,
no.
yeah. All the time.
And then also, I'm like, I am embracing it. I will, complain about me. Because I am like, so Miles has told me like from a very young age that he doesn't want to get married.
You're saying like my dad always, like he'll say those same things.
Yes. Yeah. Like eye rolls because Josh does not like to talk on the phone. So he eye rolls at anybody.
Okay.
But his family, a lot of times they talk for a long period of time because they don't live close by.
Yeah.
And so Josh will be like, I'm not ready for a full conversation with my mom. And I'm like, you should answer your phone because I am a mom. And any second that my children call me, you can guarantee
you're going to miss her.
I am stopping everything that I'm doing.
That's a mom thing, though. Yes. That's a mom thing, 100%.
And so I'm like, call your mom. Call her and talk to her. But anyways,
and then I could call my dad right now and it would be 2 sentences. He'd be like, you okay? I'd be like, yeah. Like, all right, love you. Bye. Like, that's it.
Yeah. And all of my family, like we all call each other all the time.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe they just don't do that.
Like
but
on the phone?
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Caleb and Keaton, my brothers, we all call each other.
Okay.
Like within.
You looking at me like I'm the crazy. I'm sorry.
Anyways, so Miles has told me from like probably like 4, he doesn't want to get married. And I don't know if that'll change, but I mean, he's 8 now and the script has not changed.
Yeah.
And I totally I'm like, okay,
whatever.
Cool. Yeah. Go and like live and have cool adventures, like
he's
whatever.
Gonna get blindsided though. One little girl is gonna be like, change his world, but yeah.
I am like, wherever you are in this world, you are calling me. You are calling your mother, or you're going to see me at the airport because I'm going to find you. You are calling me. So his mom, I just saw her and she was like, can you tell that to my son? And I sure can. I don't know if he'll listen, but I'm like, I will force a phone call.
That's so funny.
And I am aware that you will be like, oh, my mom's calling.
Oh my goodness.
Answer my phone call. My mom says that'll change, but I'm like,
it might.
It's not going to change.
It might. Who knows?
Nope.
All right. What do you want to hear about?
I don't know, like, how many kids y'all got?
How y'all doing on this parenting thing? Are we doing good?
If you had a scale, 1 to 10, where do you think you would be?
Where do you rank on being a parent?
And how old are your kids?
Because
I feel like that changes. Yeah. Because right now, I feel like I'm at like a 2 when it comes to parenting.
Well, and it's so funny because like there's people, I know I've said this a lot, and maybe I'm just naive to it, but like I look at people who have children that are my kids' age, and I'm like, we are not the same. We are not the same. We don't look the same. We don't look no. And then I look at their kids, and I'm like, oh, that's probably why you look like you look. You aged a little. Your kids have aged you quickly.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, how you feel like you're doing?
On a scale of 1 to 10, where do
I always feel
rank?
like I'm on like a 2 because I just am so tired. I'm so tired. I live in a house full of boys. The only reprieve I have is my dog Basil. She's
like, I'll take care of you.
She's all I got. And even she's a puppy. Like she ain't helping.
She doesn't know anything. She's totally naive to all this situation.
She's just like, what?
We can definitely sled down the stairs. As a matter of fact, I'll go first. Watch this.
I'll show you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, like, what is there to?
I would say, like, I mean, I think for me, I probably know your graces. You know what I mean? Because like I hear them all the time, being in the ministry, like of what the good parts are. I would wonder what the greases are, like, and that nobody else knows, because there's some things that go on. Like we talked about some of the things that like I think normal people would talk about, but then there's other things where I think like are. If you thought about it for a little bit, like we would be like, oh yeah, that's a good one. Like I got a couple that we couldn't talk about on, on the podcast, but like those things are super transparent. So regardless, whatever, like shoot us a message. You can email us at greaseandgracepod@gmail.com. You can hit us up on greaseandgracepod.com or any social media platform. We do want to bring one thing to people's attention. You ready for this, Kim?
What is it?
We reached 2,000 all-time downloads.
Wow!
Yep.
Look at that!
So huge shout out to all you guys that listen every week. Thanks for your support.
I've known that people have been talking about it because I've had quite a few people tell me like, oh, I've heard it's really funny, and somebody the other day asked me to send a link. We
have been doing this since just
May.
May. We started May 9th of 2024. So we are slowly creeping up on a year of doing this. So, sometimes you jump into a podcast. I don't know if people think of this, but I do. Like sometimes you jump into a podcast and you're hesitant to go back and do like a deep dive on that podcast. I would highly recommend doing that. Like for our podcast, there are some really good episodes. And it's funny because Kim and I, we will a lot of times like message each other about something we discuss. So for example, if you haven't checked out the Santa culture episode, it's still one to this day we talk about, and I just sent Kim a video the other day of like things that happened. Cool. So that's like a good one. If you haven't checked out like our social media one, that's also a big favorite. And then if you wanted to hear before the podcast took the route that it's taken, anything between episode 1 to like 8 is just an open season on us being us. So you can take a listen to that too as well.
We might have to have one of those again.
We might just have to just roll on it. But hey, thanks for listening. Click the comment, share, subscribe.
Tell your friends.
Tell your friends. Let them know. Until next week, we'll talk to you real soon.
Later.